Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Uncensored Journey podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest, Codou, who is a skincare advocate, definitely very influential within social media and advocating for, women's health and growth, and who's an amazing mother and also just letting us know about all of the business and skincare tips. So I wanted to welcome you to the platform. We wanted to invite you on because I thought that as I was watching your page and watching the advice that you give women about their skincare, I really wanted to make sure that we created a platform where we can share this with our viewers and listeners. So thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for such a great intro. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate you having me on your platform today.
Thank you, thank you. So, could you tell us a bit about yourself? How was your childhood or your experience growing up?
So I am Codou Job. I've been living in the US for 15 years now. I was born in Senegal, in Gorée Island, and grew up for the first part of my life in Gorée. Very simple but happy childhood, part of a very big family, big
Mhm.
extended family. My immediate family were there's not a lot of us, but like I grew up in Gorée. I was in my grandfather's house, so it's a lot of aunts, uncles, tons of cousins. So like a huge family where um, you know you don't need friends. You have a lot of friends already within your immediate family. So yeah, I grew up in Senegal. Went to school in Dakar, Notre Dame, for the people that know Dakar a little bit. And after my baccalaureate, I moved to France. Metz
Really?
in the northeast of France. That's where I went to school. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Um, that's
Yeah. How was your experience in France or growing up in France?
hold on. My eyes, they always water. You edit afterwards, right? Okay,
Of
good.
course, yeah, yeah,
My eyes always water.
yeah.
France, I would say, as all young Senegalese people that are, looking forward to leaving their parents to go somewhere, whether it's France or US or Canada, I was just very excited to leave the house and be independent and free. And in my mind, that's what it was going to be, because my mom was very strict growing up. She didn't let me do everything my friends did, like, going out and all of that. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to go to school, but I'm finally going to be able to, go to a club if I want to. But
Yeah.
I would say that my first year in France was very depressing.
Oh,
Very, very depressing,
why?
because Metz is a very cold city, like one
Mm.
of the coldest cities in France, and that year was a very cold winter,
Mm.
and so I don't know. I was just like depressed that my family was not around me. Um, I didn't have my friends. It was a different environment, going to school, waking up, it's cold. So my first year was kind of a depressing year. And then I, you know, got involved with more of the Senegalese community, the students. Like Metz is a big college town with
Oh,
a lot of Africans and Senegalese people. So, making friends and being more part of the community there, it got better. But yeah, it was good. It was great, great times.
yeah.
As you know, I'm like a lot older, so that was like late 90s, early 2000s. It was a good time.
That was the
it,
I wish I grew up in the 90s. That
I,
was I was born, but
it,
I didn't get to experience it?
it was a good, you had to be there. It was a good
What was,
time.
what was your favorite part of the 90s?
The music, the,
Mm.
um, the music, the fashion. Um, so like the US has always been like the standard when it comes to like
Yeah.
influencing culture. When I'm saying the US, I'm gonna even say Black culture, Black African American culture really influenced the whole world. So back then, for us, it was watching MTV Base, um, and watching
So
your, you know, watching. Okay, these first two, I'm so mad at them because they messed up a whole part of my memories. That's Diddy and R. Kelly. I don't
man,
want like they're attached. I'm so mad at R. Kelly because I don't listen to his music anymore, but he
me
was a big part of my college days. Just the music and the fashion,
neither.
and it was just like it was just a vibe. You just had to be there. I would say like yeah, for me the best part was the music, the fashion, and just like the whole 90s. If I could go back to one period of time, it would definitely be late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. And I feel like that's why I love Tiana Taylor so much because she really
Oh,
embodies
she's yeah,
what the
she
90s
does.
and yeah.
Mhm. She does. She really does. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that took
Mm,
me back to like a flashback of what I missed, where I know I was there,
yeah.
but didn't experience it. So,
Mhm.
what really sparked your interest in skincare? Because I do see that on your social media, you take the opportunity to educate us on skincare and the different brands you.
Mhm.
So, what sparked your interest?
For me, it's just my own struggles with skin.
Mm,
And I still to this day struggle with acne, breakouts. You know, I have scars from being someone that used to touch my pimples all the time. It's just my own struggles. Um, with acne, like adult acne. Because growing up as like when teenagers were having the pizza face, I didn't have acne. I didn't deal with that. But it was like more older when I got older that I started getting those issues. So in trying to find a solution to my issues, I just found that, you know, I was very passionate about it. It's something I love doing.
mhm.
And I just started by sharing my own experience. And when I became more of a content creator, back then, I, you know, started doing more like educational videos on skincare, started sharing my, you know, what I do and product reviews and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that skin is such a sensitive topic because I feel like it's directly connected to your security. I think when you have maybe
Mhm.
when you're experiencing a lot of pimples that I did have growing up, and my sister and I always had
Mhm.
conversations about it because we don't really realize how much what you eat, what you drink, how it influences the way you're like, the output of your body. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I would say with you having to manage acne and really getting to learn your body and your skin, what would you say um, how would you say that impacted your experience in general within that time frame? Like, did you find yourself having insecure moments, or how did you
Oh,
navigate the mental aspect of it?
and when it was the worst, that was like I didn't even have kids yet. So it was like 32.
Mm,
My face, I kid you not, like it was just my whole face was covered with acne and I didn't know what was the reason. And I would walk like I wouldn't look people in the eye at that time. I would just put my head down because it was just so many of them on my face. I'm like I don't look at people because they are like just staring at me. And I found when I first moved to the US, I found this dermatologist. I'm like, I have to go take care of this. This is not I'm not going to be walking around like this. And I found this dermatologist, and he talked to me about this laser treatment. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. That was like in 2008. And it's called Isolaz, ISOLAZ. And I don't know if they do it still, but it was back then I remember he said it's $1,000, you're gonna come 10 times. I said, I don't care. It could even be 2,000. I'm doing it. So it was
yeah.
laser treatment. I would go once a week, or I don't remember. However, I don't remember the cadence. But after that treatment, it was so good for like 4 years. I think like for around 4 years,
Yes.
I did not have like a single breakout, a single
Oh,
breakout. But before I did that, I would be just like my head down walking. Like if I'm outside, I'm not even looking at people. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was the worst of it. And then it came back later on. But yeah, I don't know if that laser treatment still exists, but it was like just a lifesaver for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I gotta learn about that one. I did not know about it. I mean, it
Yeah,
sounds
but that was a long time ago, right?
yeah, it
So
sounds
16 years
expensive.
ago. Yeah,
$15.
because like it was 16 years ago, right? $1,000 16 years ago. That was a
Mhm.
lot to me. That was a
Yeah,
lot to me. But I had just got married and like 5 months earlier, and I moved here. I wasn't working yet, and my husband was like, "Oh, just do it. Just do
yeah,
it since you're feeling so miserable." So, and it was, but yeah, I think some people are more prone to breakouts. You'll see people that don't do anything to their skin. They have the most basic skincare routines, and their skin, I'm not gonna say perfect, but like their skin is just, you don't see anything.
yeah,
But like people have the misconception that because of like the culture of social media and filters and all of that, I can tell you the majority of the people you see, that's not what their skin looks like. But people think that that's what their skin should look like,
yeah,
poreless and scarless. No, your pores are normal.
yeah,
Um, if you've had acne like me, having acne scars, it's normal. It's just you're gonna have that. So I think social media like has a big role in what we feel like skin should look like. So.
yeah.
Mhm.
So what would be your advice to someone who may be dealing with the insecurities that come with having, acne or pimples or a skin condition? What would be your advice to them?
It's annoying. It's like, I'm not gonna say, people say you just have to have confidence and accept yourself the way you are. Having been there, I'm not gonna give people that speech. Just
Yeah.
find what works, find the source of the issue. Acne can be like hormonal. Um, it
Mhm.
can be caused by your routine, some products that are in your routine that, your skin doesn't take very well. Maybe you're using too many harsh products. Um, you have to find the cause of your acne in order to be able to treat it.
Mm,
I know that like last year for a long time I had texture issues with these like small pimples. And niacinamide is an ingredient that this industry loves now. It's almost in like every single product. And I loved it. A lot of products that I loved had niacinamide. And like it
mm.
took me such a long time to know that niacinamide is actually an ingredient that I don't do well with. So it's like if you're breaking out, all of a sudden you just have a lot of breakouts, you don't know where it's coming from. Reset, start over with very simple products. A gentle cleanser, a good moisturizer, maybe a hydrating serum, and a sunscreen. Start there. And then, like, if you do like repair your barrier like that for 3 weeks, then
Yeah.
start including more products. And when you're trying new products, try them one at a time. Because
Mm,
if you just started using one new product, if you start breaking out in a week, you will know that it's that one new product.
right.
But if you wake up and you start 5 product at the same time, you will not know which one caused you to break out or cause you issues. So I think like it's just like have good healthy lifestyle that helps. Like I know people say drink a lot of water, but if you can drink all the water in the world, if you're not using the right products, it's not going to reflect on
Yeah,
your on your skin. Just know what works for you, because a
yeah,
product that works great for me can not work for you. So you just have to, try different things and, treatments as well. If you go to a esthetician, um, I totally butchered that word, but you know what I'm trying to say, esthetician,
you get it right.
uh, and see what works for you.
No, that
Um,
makes total sense. Mhm.
yeah, I'm saying like I'm okay with if I have a breakout, it's fine. I know that my skin, I will always have breakouts here and there. It's
Mhm.
okay, but it's just like the misconception that your skin has to be perfect somehow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I think
so.
social media plays a huge role in making
Mhm.
everyone feel like their skin needs to be perfect. And I know one thing that I definitely struggle with is keeping a consistent routine when it comes to skincare. I'm not very well educated on the topic, so that's why I watch your page, and I'll put your at right here at the bottom. But I watch your page to try to figure out what are some topics that are, good for skin, or how can it be paired well together. So what would be your advice for like someone like me who isn't necessarily as educated on skincare as they would like to be, but they know the importance of it? What is like a basic skincare regimen that you feel like people can slowly get introduced to managing their skin?
Like when it comes to routines, you'll have different routines for different people. And then my routine today is going to be different from my routine tomorrow if all of a sudden I have more hyperpigmentation. So I
Yeah.
would say know your skin type because
Mm.
that will let you know which products would work well for you, which ingredients would work well for you. A test to really know what your skin type is to wash your face with a gentle cleanser and wait for an hour. Don't put anything on your face, just wash it, dry it, wait for an hour. If your skin after that hour is like so tight that it's pulling, that'll tell you that you have dry skin. If you
Mm.
have like the oils, coming out after that 1 hour, that'll tell you you have oily skin. If your skin is just okay, not too dry, not too oily, you have what we call normal skin. But and
Mm.
if you have patchy, like oily patches and regular, then that's
Pink.
like a what do they call that? Um, combination skin. So
Oh.
then you got to know, okay, if you have acne, then these are the ingredients that um help with acne. So it's about your skin type and your skin condition, what you're trying
Mm.
um to solve in terms of problems. But if you have no complaints, like your skin is fine, you know your skin type, get you a gentle cleanser for your morning routine. Have your hydrating serum, maybe vitamin C if you want to, your moisturizer, and always, 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 always sunscreen.
Suns.
Always
You know,
sunscreen.
I used to.
Always.
This might be the ignorance, but I always heard growing up, I'm black, I don't need sunscreen until I realized how important sunscreen
No,
was.
we all need sunscreen. Well, once
Yes.
skin cancer does exist, maybe we hear about skin cancer less than the other ones, but it
Mhm.
does exist, and the UV rays cause damage to the skin, and also
Mhm.
aging. Sun causes aging, so if you don't want to be aging like a banana, um,
Mm.
you know, wear sunscreen every day, and they say also to reapply every 2 hours. Um, your sunscreen. But and luckily nowadays it's not like a few, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Being dark skinned, we have options. Before sunscreen, we would all look like, casket ready. It
The
would
white.
always have a cast, right?
Oh my gosh.
They didn't have us in mind when they were making those sunscreens. But nowadays we have so many options. Like Korean sunscreens are amazing.
Mm.
A lot of mine that I love, I don't use them anymore because a lot of them have niacinamide, and niacinamide breaks me out. But like European sunscreens are amazing. Like Eucerin, the not the Eucerin in America, Eucerin in Europe. Love it. So if you can have a simple routine: cleanser, serum, moisturizer, sunscreen, morning. At night, I recommend double cleansing, especially if you wear makeup. Um, oil breaks down oil, so use either a oil cleanser or a cleansing balm. That helps you break out your makeup first. It'll clean it up very well. Rinse that off. Usually it'll emulsify, meaning it'll look white like milk. Rinse it off and then use your cleanser. If you have acne, you can use a cleanser with benzoyl peroxide or,
Yeah.
niacinamide. And then at night, that's when I do my treatments with products that are stronger, like retinol, always at night, obviously. But like if I'm using acids to help with my dark spots, I tend to use them at night. So your serums to treat, your moisturizer, that's it. It doesn't have to be complicated, but you got to know what your skin type is and also, what concerns you're trying to, what
Yeah.
problems you're trying to solve, skin problems.
Okay. Thank you for that because as you're talking, I'm like trying to write down all the names, but I'm gonna look it up after because the pronunciation,
We
these
can
messages
talk about it, but your skin looks amazing. It looks like you can get
are
away with doing not much. Me, I always have to be like, oh, wake up. Oh,
no, your
but
skin
like,
looks beautiful.
thank you. You're too kind.
So I'm gonna go into social media because you do use your
Yeah.
social media to advocate and touching on many different topics when it comes to women in general. So I want you to educate us on first your podcast, GN Diaspora.
Hmm.
Could you tell us
Yeah.
more about the podcast and some different topics that you touch on?
Yeah. So the podcast I created in 2020 during the pandemic. I lost my job in May of 2020. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, I've been thinking about this podcast for a long time. Let me just go ahead and start working on it. And I announced it, I think, in June, and I worked on it, and it launched in August. And it's called Jigenu Diaspora. So it's a podcast that just puts a light on Senegalese women, whether they are from the diaspora or they are in Senegal. So just sharing their inspiring stories. We talk about tons of subjects. It could be personal development, it could be motherhood, being an entrepreneur, anything that like touches us. You know, women. We talk about it. So we've had 4 seasons, and the first episode of season 5 launches next Friday. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. One thing that you we had discussed was
Hmm.
that you are a mother and you're also a mother who's raising a child who has ADHD. And I wanted to
Hmm.
learn more about that experience. What are some things that you noticed earlier on that that may have seemed like symptoms that are easy to look over?
Um. So symptoms. I gotta say, I wasn't when. So it's my son who's
Mm,
almost. Well, he's 11 and a half. He'll be 12 in June. Um. He was just very active, very hyperactive. Um. But the even with his hyperactivity, I did not think of ADHD because I really didn't know much about ADHD.
mm,
Um. But when he went to kindergarten where now you're not in preschool anymore. It's not just always playtime. It's more structured, more you have to focus. And he was not following directions. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. Pretty much.
mm,
Um so that's when, I think a friend talked to me about ADHD. I don't remember who brought that up, if it was a friend
mm,
or a teacher. And at first I was like, no, what is that? I don't think that's what he has. And
mm,
then, I started seeing more of those symptoms, and I did the questionnaire online. You can Google ADHD questionnaire that'll ask you, I don't remember if it's 15 or 20 questions. And then at the end, with the number of points, it'll tell you like the likelihood
mm.
of this person having ADHD. And then we went to the doctor, um, talked about it with his pediatrician, and how they do it is that everybody that works with this child, whether it's a teacher or parents or anybody that like just takes care of the child, have them fill out this form that they give you, and then they decide, given the answers they have, if this person has ADHD or not. But there's a lot of misconception on what ADHD is, because people think it's just someone that can't focus, that's just very um, active. But there's a lot of other things that come into play, like the emotional disturbance, um, having
Mm,
big reactions to things, something that's like small detail for us, big emotions. Because
yeah.
kids with ADHD, I mean, they are not, I don't know how to explain it. My son doesn't have any issues having amazing grades and learning in school. Mashallah, he's actually very smart, but
Mm,
he will not always want to do what the teacher asked him to do, for example, right? His reactions are going to be big and all of that. So kids with ADHD, usually they are like three 2 to 3 years behind compared to their peers when it comes to like emotional, like maturity, how they act, like how they react to things and all of that. So,
mhm.
there's an emotional side of it, but it's just like most of the time, family and people around you will not understand. They will just think that you're a lenient parent that didn't do your job. But like in Senegal, they will say "derkis." I don't know if you ever heard this word. "Xale bu derkis, xale bu sob, xale bu-" No, it's just that this kid is, his brain, like his frontal lobe, the way other
It
kids
was
is mature. Yeah, like they don't mature at the same rate as the other kids. So they will just be um all over the place. So like you're not going to spend your time beating that kid or yelling at that kid all the time. The
Mhm.
way you raise other kids is not going to be the same way, because it's proven that kids with ADHD, I don't remember what was the number. That was some crazy number. I don't know if it was 50 times more negative feedback than other kids. So that does a lot to that kids' self-esteem and how they, view themselves, because they are always hearing negative feedback from
Mhm.
parents, from teachers, from people around them. Why are you talking so much? Why did you talk to me the way you talk to me? Or why are you doing this? Why are you that? But it plays a role in
Yeah,
the way they see themselves and the self-esteem. So, I mean, I am not perfect. I still learn. I still lose it because it's very it takes a lot of patience.
yeah,
Um and people with ADHD most of the times think they are very smart, but also they think they're always right, and they don't want to, be wrong. So like it's the way that power, what is it called? A struggle between us where he's saying, "Well, this is what I da, da, da," and I'm like, "No, this is not what's gonna happen." So it's just
yeah.
always, yeah.
No, I want to
Anyway.
thank you for being vulnerable about that and being open to sharing the experience because
Mhm.
if I'm being honest with you, you are the first Senegalese woman who I've heard openly speak about it. And
Mm.
I haven't like heard the term as I was growing up. Of course, I would hear it in school because I grew up in America, but within my culture, and my sister is a behavioral therapist for
Mhm.
neurodivergent children. And so we have
Mhm.
those conversations now. She's a mental health advocate. Um, but prior to that, you were really the only other person that I heard talking about it. And I really wanted to touch on that discussion because I think sometimes it's important to have that conversation, to normalize that within cultures and to have a better
Mhm.
understanding of, different demographics so that we can be a support system and so that was going to be my follow up question of did you have any challenges with um, sharing your son's experience with family or others within the Senegalese community?
Uh, so I want to say, everyone you've probably known, this one kid in your family
Mm-hmm.
that is always doing stuff, and people are always telling him or her,
Well,
Sit down. Do
yeah,
dig, dogal, li la, lily." So for me, it was just explaining, like when we went to Senegal, um, and he went to Senegal once, and that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago. So it would be making people understand that no, you're not going to beat him just because he did this one thing.
yeah,
Some of the things you're gonna let them, like, you're not gonna address them. Yes, he was just yelling and maybe seemed very disrespectful, but like the way you're raising him and the way you're raising his older sister is different because they don't have the same uh
yeah.
they weren't dealt the same cards. So you
Mhm.
try to explain what he has is like how what like a neurodivergent kid is, but I
Yeah.
don't think people understand it. Even here, I don't think it's just Senegal. I think even here, a lot of people think it's a made up thing.
Yeah.
Or people are just these kids are just lazy. They don't want to do um, the work. They want to do whatever they want to do. But
Mhm.
so it's just trying to have people understand what exactly it is. I
Mhm.
think that's the struggle.
Yeah. No, thank you
Yeah,
for sharing. I really
yeah.
appreciate.
Because
Yeah.
Senegalese people will say, "Me, you don't want like do yap sa dom," genre,
Mhm.
So I think that's how they see it.
Yeah. No, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I
Mhm.
totally agree with you. So now we're gonna transition into the Samahalat section and
Mhm.
or segment. And mooy segment boo xam ne we're just gonna have a conversation about the different states of Senegal, specifically with you.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to talk about skincare and raising children because that's your brand, and I wanted to learn more about your thoughts on it in the Senegalese context. So, li ma
Mhm.
la li ma la bëgg njëkk a laaj mooy lan mooy sa experience ci skincare within the Senegalese culture ndax yàgg nañ dégg comme suñu maam yi dañuy defar seen yaram yi ba mu rafet wala ñu am complexion bu rafet mais lan nga yaakaar mooy produit yi nga xam ne jigéen yi war nañ ko utiliser pour ñu am like a good skin care la li sa xalaat ci loolu.
Déjà ñu bàyyi xeesal.
Mm.
That's that's number one. Um,
Waxaat
bon,
waxaat.
but yeah, bàyyi xeesal, but that's a bigger issue boo xam ne am na leneen lu ko créer aussi mais bon day compliqué bu ñu dugg ci yooyu yëpp mais d'habitude Sénégal dañu am de belle peau teint yu rafet la ñu amee tout c'est juste toppatoo sa bopp mais je pense que jigéenu Sénégal elles sont dañu bëgg seen bopp de toute façon jigéenu Sénégal dafa coquette dafa bëgg defaru bëgg sañse et tout ça donc je pense que euh, loo xam ne la dañ koy def ba pare quoi dañuy toppatoo seen bopp ba pare fi ñu bëgg nañ lu baax bëgg nañ xeeñ lu neex bëgg nañ sañse donc moi je dirais bu ma amee benn message mooy bàyyi leen xeesal bi et puis jënd produit yu baax bàyyi leen yi ngeen di wóolu yoo xam ne dañuy ñëw ci TikTok bi di defe ne ñoom ay chimiste lañu wala chimiste cosmétique lañu di créer di jàmbalu ne di leen ko jaay ngeen koy def seen yaram yi donc faut faire attention lan ngay diw sa yaram quoi ci côté boobu parce que dama am impression que ne Sénégal ñëpp léegi dañu am diplôme chimiste ñëpp mën defar ay diw toog seen kër di ko defar di ko jàmb naan gamme teint marron gamme teint clair gamme teint xawma lan c'est comme lu ma doon wax
Dañuy business.
li ma doon wax produit duñ ko fabriquer par rapport à lan mooy sa couleur peau donc
Mm.
anyways
Non, li nga wax dafa am solo ndax um, xeesal ci Sénégal is so interesting dama yaakaar ne dafa am ay insécurité yu bari yoo xam ne yenn saay dañuy yaakaar ne teint bu rafet mooy dangaa rafet teint bu xees mooy dangaa rafet wala
xees
boo
mhm
yeah boo xeesalee nit day tax ba góor ñu bëgg la wala ak nu mu mënti demee sa mind li tax nga yaakaar ni xeesal dafa baax mais xeesal day yàq sa yaram
mhm
ñun ñu ñuul lañ sénégalais yi dañoo ñuul am na ñu ci xees mais ñu ci ëpp dañoo ñuul te dañoo war a bëgg suñu teint have respect for ourselves and our culture.
mhm
Yenn saay damay metti ndax damay xamaale tamit dangay gis tubaab yi nga yaakaar ne sa teen noonu la war a mel boo xoolee suñu président yu njëkk yi sax ñoom ñëpp seen jabar yi ay tubaab lañ woon.
jabaru tubaab
Yeah, wala nga gis kenn you know?
Je pense que colorisme bi am Sénégal moo tax aussi souvent di nga am aussi like body shaming and par exemple nga dëkk ci benn koñ nga ñuul dernièrement maa ngi doon wax xaw ma lan moo tax démb wala barki démb maa ngi doon wax sama petite sœur ma koy fàttaliku kenn ku nekkoon suñu koñ bi
Mhm.
ñu boobu nekk ñu woon Gorée ñu ngi dëkkoon Dakar ma koy ne moom dafa ñuuloon comme ñuulu soudanais yi soudanais
Si
du sud yi ñuul boobu nga xam ne ñëpp lañ bëgg mais si
du ma
koñ
ko
bi
gëstu.
dañ ko doon woowee muus bu ñuul
Mm,
muus bu ñuul noiro fils de la nuit, right? So you don't speak French. Noiro fils de la nuit was like blacky child of the night, right?
mm,
Yenn wax yi certainement sax loolu si mbedd bi la mais certainement seen biir kër tamit certainement am na ñoo xam ne ñu ngi koy wax ay wax c'est que Sénégal ñoo mun di wax et du jàmbur yi rek ñoo koy def seen biir kër tam dina am sa tante bu la wax yow de jaara sa rakk bi kii Codou moom moo la dàq dafa xees moo la gën a xees yaa ko gën a ñuul donc faut pas que moo tax man du ma blâmer toujours ñiy xeesal parce que dafa am lu bari ci ginnaaw loo xam ne moo leen di dugal ci loolu aussi góor yi dañu am complexe jigéen bu xees n'est-ce pas góor yi dañu am complexe jigéen bu xees c'est toute une culture boo xam ne problème bi dafa gën a complexe que juste diw xeesal dafa am lu bari lu ko lal quoi
yeah,
yeah
yeah. No, thank you for touching on that. Ndax li ma bëgg jigéen yi xam mooy seen teint yi daa rafet ne la yàlla
Mhm,
bindee dafa rafet, so ñuy fàttaliku loolu tamit. Beneen question bi ma la bëggoon laaj mooy si suñu Senegalese culture bi duma dégg lu bari ñuy wax ci xale boo xam ne dafa am neurodivergent, like
mhm.
comme ni ñuy wax ci français TDAH. Dama bëggoon xam sa expérience ci loolu and lan nga yaakaar mooy advice boobu mën a jox nit ñi ci xale yooyu?
Um, je pense que léegi mu ngi gën di changer nit ñu ngi ciy gën di wax
Mhm,
um, dinaa koy gis ay si groupe Facebook yeex bon man
mhm,
sama podcast bi wax naa ci sama propre expérience invité woon naa koo xam ne tam moom
mhm,
doomam dafa am autisme par exemple parce que bon les enfants yu neurodivergents yi c'est pas juste ay TDAH am na ñu am autisme am na ñu am lii lale je pense que léegi génération bi nit ci dañ ciy wax plus mais du ñëpp ñoo comprendre lan mooy problème bi donc conseil bu may jox nit koo xam ne xam nga dafa am doom boo xam ne peut-être dafa am TDAH wala peut-être dafa am autisme mooy
mhm,
nga trouver sa communauté trouver ñoo xam ne ñu ngi dund lu ngay dund groupe Facebook yi bari nañ euh, et puis yow ci sa bopp ngay éduquer ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk autour de toi ñoo xam ne di leen xamale di leen jàngal plus ci lan mooy différencier sa doom ak yeneen doom yi nag lan moo tax nga koy yaree ni nga koy yaree donc foog nga am sa communauté daal foog nga am ñoo xam ne dinañ si mën a jàppale
mhm.
tuuti.
Léegi
Yeah.
loo yaakaar mooy ay symptômes yoo xam ne dañ ci war a bàyyi xel si sa expérience de yar xale boo xam ne dafa am TDAH danga mooy ay symptômes ñu ci war a bàyyi xel nga xam ne Sénégal yenn saa yi dañuy naan xale bi dafa réew xale bi dafa ëppal ah,
Mhm.
luy sa xalaat ci loolu?
Je pense que bu dee xale boo xam ne dafa actif ba mu ëpp actif ba mu dafay bouncing off the walls jëpp
Yeah.
bu dul toog bu dee xale pas xale bu am ay 3 ans yooyu tout ça mais bu dee xale bi màgg na am ay 5 6 ans nga gis ne aussi dafa actif ba mu bëri faut dire aussi que TDAH dafay présenter wu différemment que nga nekk góor wala jigéen mun nga
Mhm,
am TDA mais doo am H bi mooy hyperactivité mooy liy tax nga actif donc mais di seetlu sa doom par exemple nu muy jàngee est-ce que par exemple bu amee devoir bëggul toog def devoir bi bëggul
mhm,
toog di concentré wu dina def tuuti mais ne non moom doyal na ci devoir bi je pense que di observer xale buy mer boo xam ne xale boo xam ne boo ko teree dara mun nga ko tere dara 10 000 fois mais dina demaat defaat même chose bi du xalaataat ne keroog de bi ma defee lii il y a 2 heures de temps def naa lii sama yaay puni na ma
mm,
mais 2 heures de temps après mu ñëwaat di def même chose bi fàtte na sax yow ne puni woon nga ko si donc
mm,
di observer bu baax et comme je disais am na groupe support yi man je sais que ça m'aide beaucoup
mhm.
di wax ak ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi vivre la même chose
Yeah.
mais c'est pas du feebar euh, c'est juste que seen cerveau ni muy fonctionner ak suñu bos ni muy fonctionner du benn c'est tout mais dañu xale yu intelligent lañu xale yuy jàng lañu feebaruñu amuñu feebaru bopp dara daru leen donc y a pas de amul honte daal amul honte si même su
Yeah.
doon nga am feebaru xam nga su may wax amul honte c'est pas parce que da nga am feebar mental que da nga war a am honte mais du feebaru bopp feebaruñu mais c'est juste que ni seen cerveau di marcher ni cerveau yeneen yi di marcher du benn. Mmh.
Man moom sama challenge bi may am ndax même bi ma doon jéema bi ñu doon waaj a def podcast bi ma doon def sama research pour lijjanti moo bi nuñ koy waxee ci olof.
Ah, loolu nag amul loo xaw ma ko de.
Yeah, gisuma ko woon ba
Xaw
pare
ma ko.
yeah, li ma mënoon xalaat mooy, mënoon seet ñu naan malade mental wala,
Non,
feebaru xel, te man
non,
bi ma ko
non.
dégguma français mais pour man it didn't resonate with me. It
Non,
felt like
du feebaru bopp, non.
non du
Non,
feebaru bopp du
feebaru bopp peut-être ay nit ku bipolaire wala nit ku
yeah.
schizophrène wala I don't know, feebaru bopp daal.
Léegi
Non, du feebaru bopp.
lan mooy stéréotype boo xam ne, maybe ci culture bi bu ñu war a xalaataat wala changer ni ñu koy waxee or lan mooy stéréotype boo bëgg like dismantle?
C'est stéréotype boo xam ne dafa lié pour affaire xale yi ak
Waaw.
TDAH tout ça.
Mhm.
Mooy boo leen gisee xale boo xam ne da ngeen di ne dafa dërkis dafa dëgër bopp benn xale buy def ay dégâts tout le temps tout le temps tout le temps ñu koy dóor di ko pini tout le temps, heu, ñu xalaataat ne kii lan moo tax rek ñu koy tere même chose bi rek mu koy continuer di ko def tout le temps tout le temps. C'est pas parce que dafa bëgg dóor yi daf ko neex là peut-être nga changer ni ñuy xoolee xool peut-être ne xale bi du fonctionner comme yeneen xale yi am na beneen approche bu ñu war a jël ak moom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xam nga et puis aussi je trouve que sénégalais dañu confortable trop pour dugg ci nit ci yar nit nu muy yaree doomam.
Mhm. Yeah.
Par exemple wax la mais yow waroo woon def lii parce que boo seetee fii bon yow peut-être amoo doom doo gis mais boo seetee fii nit yi duñu wax jamais duñu wax jamais si duñu ñeme ñëw ne la mais yow nii ngay yaree sa doom bi c'est tabou di wax nit waroo yaree sa doom nii waroo doxalee nii yow sa doom bi waroon nga ko wax mu def nii wax mu def nii.
Yeah.
Mais ñun Sénégal loolu lu ñuy def la donc su dee am na lu ma bëgg a changer ci côté boobu mooy, heu, bañ di dugg torop ci nit nu muy yaree doomam.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate that. So now we're gonna go into the stimulate your mind segment where we play
Mhm.
play two games. So
Okay.
the first game is going to be called Pick One. And that game is basically where I'll say a name. After I'll add the person's photo on screen. I'm going to choose three,
Mhm.
and then you can let me know what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of this person. You can decide to explain or not, and we could just move on.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So this is an English part.
English part, yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So the first person that I'm thinking of is Queen Latifah.
You say Queen Latifah, I think UNITY. I think about her song. That's the first thing that will come to mind. UNITY. That's the unity.
Yeah.
That's what comes to mind because
Yeah.
that's just like part of my, the music
Upbringing.
that I loved, yeah, vibing to. So that's what I think about when you say Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, one of the things I think about, but I think she's beautiful. She's just like she's everything.
Yeah.
Beautiful queen. Yeah.
Yeah. I chose her because you are a skincare advocate, and whatever you see on social media, they're like, she never has a bad hair day, and her
Oh
skin.
no. Her hair is always laid. Her
Yeah,
skin looks amazing. She's just beautiful. She's always like dressed so chic. She's
yeah,
gorgeous. I love her. Yeah, she's
absolutely.
beautiful.
Uh, Vivian Dur,
Vivienne, I think diva.
diva,
She's a diva.
rightfully so.
She's a diva. I don't think she's a great vocalist, but
Yeah,
her music has its she has her
boundaries.
lane. Yeah,
Yeah,
she knows where her lane is. I love how she's like not paying no mind to people that are talking about what she should wear at her age or how she should look like. I
Uh-huh.
think she's our Beyonce.
No,
I
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not a like a I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a Vivian super fan. I'm not a super fan of her music because I feel like okay, it's nice. It's a little something to dance to.
Yeah.
But I love I love her attitude towards like
Mm,
just everyone that has so many things to say about her. I think she's living her life,
yeah.
minding her business. She looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that about her too. Like before she
Yeah.
responds to you, she'll rather put it in a song. So
Yeah, she just pays them no mind. I like that about her.
absolutely. Oh yeah, two more. Not Beyonce. I want to say Kanye West.
Ugh. I can't stand him. Kanye. Do I say a word that comes to mind?
Yeah, one word that comes to mind when you think of Kanye West. That
That
face.
sound, that sound came like I don't know. I don't know what comes to mind. I can't stand Kanye. I canceled him a long time.
Can't
Canceled.
you
Yeah,
want
I
to?
don't. I canceled Kanye a long time ago. I don't listen to his music. I don't check for him. He don't lost his mind. Um,
People think he's a genius.
no. Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of it. Yes, what genius? Like a musical genius?
I don't know. I think they think that everything
Old
he does is a bigger plan to it, and that he's a genius.
No, not anymore. I don't know. Maybe his first like Kanye, what was his first album? It was a dropout, whatever, high school dropout. Love that Kanye, but this new Kanye, I can't stand him. I don't buy anything Kanye sells. I don't listen to Kanye's music. I can't stand Kanye. No.
I think that was before his mom passed. I can You can definitely tell the difference in Kanye when his mom passed.
Yeah, I think it definitely. Well, she was like his rock.
Yeah.
I did watch his Netflix documentary.
Mm.
I did watch it.
How was
And
it?
yeah, it's good. Really good. I can't stand Kanye, but it's really good because like it was these tapes. It's
Mm.
not like oh sitting down and talking about Kanye back in the day. It was these tapes that were filmed back in the day and how
Mm.
he was trying to make it and all of that. His mom was always there for him. Definitely when she passed, that really changed who he is. But they said he's bipolar, right? And he is not on his meds. So I
Mm.
know that his ex-wife, tried to make him take it like that woman, whatever you say about her, she loved that. I believe she loved that man, and she really was there for him. Because I wouldn't have stayed with Kanye's ass with everything he's done. I wouldn't have supported him the way she supported him. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah,
No, she
I think
absolutely did support. You could tell you could tell it took a lot out of her.
yeah,
And
I wouldn't have
yeah,
stayed. Like,
yeah,
no,
no,
but
that was it.
no, I don't like Kanye West. Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So okay, the last person was going to be no, I agree with what you just said, to be honest. The last person would be Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, I think she is smart.
Mm.
Listen, I think people. I feel like people love to hate on the Kardashians. It's not that I'm a big supporter, but I think she's business savvy.
Yes.
She knows her and her family. They knew how to uh, take advantage of their platform and
Yeah.
how to play this game somehow. And when she created Skims, I'm like, this is a product that's going to make her a billionaire. I remember telling my friends that because I
Yeah.
knew she knew shapewear. Like she was like all about that. And I think also the brain of the we don't talk about her a lot is that black British woman, Emma Grade, the
Mhm.
one that's like she owns Skims with
Yeah,
Kim, and she owns Good American with
with Kim Kardashian.
Chloe, and she owns this other whatever with that young one. What's her name? Kylie. But when I
Kylie.
think
She
about
owns all
well,
three. She's a partial
yeah,
owner.
she's yeah, so I think she's also kind of the brain. She knows how to launch a brand. Emma, her last name is Grede. Yeah.
Mm,
She's black. But yeah, I think people love to say Kardashians have no skills, they know nothing. I don't think they would have gotten where they are. Yes, she got started how she got started. We all know that. But
yeah.
she's not the only one that had a tape out there. Did all the other ones make their life, like I don't condone any of that, but I think she's a very smart woman.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they're definitely business savvy as a family.
yeah,
So that's for sure. That's something that you absolutely can't deny. Even if you don't
yeah,
maybe their methods or you don't like their ways, you still have to give respect where respect is due. They are businesswomen. Just
yeah.
the partnership with the NFL alone, like what? How? There's very few
No,
people.
she's always doing stuff. Now, I don't agree with her, you know, like stance on the Israel-Palestine conflict, like the
Yeah,
unwavering support to that place that shall not be named and all of that. But I have to give her that. And I think she's
yeah.
a smart woman. I think the brain of it all is the mother, but I
Oh
think
yeah,
she works hard. I think
yeah,
it looks like she works hard because she wouldn't have made it this far if she didn't have some sort of work ethic and has some business sense and all of that. So I think people just love to jump on the hate train of the Kardashians, but you can't take that from them.
yeah. No,
Mm,
I totally agree with you. So
yeah.
we're gonna move on to game two, which is pretty much where I pull a card game. I pull a card game, pull a question. So I'm gonna pick a random card from here and then ask you the question. We can both answer. I'll let you answer
What
first.
kind of cards is it?
So this is tonight's conversation. I don't know if you see their podcast on Instagram
No.
of their
Date
question.
night?
Yeah, it's like a date
No.
night. You can really play it with friends. I have a lot of friends that whenever they come over, we just like play a card game. So it usually sparks some type of conversation. Um,
Cool.
yep, that's too
That's
personal.
a good idea. The cards I have is We're Not Really Strangers.
Ooh, I love that game.
And I've never used it, but I think it's a good idea to pick some of them, maybe
You
to
should.
ask people. Some of them are too personal, but like they have great questions. I think I'm going to start using them for my podcast. This is a good idea.
No, you should absolutely. And I think it's also it just takes the pressure off of trying to think of a question. And I think it also takes
Hmm.
the guest and the host out of their natural element, and
Yeah.
you can just answer the
Yeah.
question for yourself. So
I'll check them out.
yeah,
I
you
don't
should.
even know what that card
I,
thing is.
I sometimes use Derek Jackson stimulate your mind or my mind or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm trying to find a question that's not too personal because some of these are personal. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I think you should use it in your podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Is the accents on whipping,
Whipping?
whipping children. Oh god. Okay, so this is a good one, I think. So the question is, tell me about the last time you stood up for yourself and how did it make you feel?
Ooh, I don't know. The last time I stood up for myself.
Or one that stands out to you?
Mm-mm-mm. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing
Would
comes to mind. Can you pick another one? Pick
you
another one. I don't remember. I remember last weekend at Trader Joe's when this white woman was trying to shade me, but that wouldn't be a good example. That would be a petty one.
what?
Like the store was super packed. Trader Joe's is always so small, right? Like every Trader Joe. And she's over here like by the brioche bread and she's with her two kids. I just passed her
Yeah.
and then just next to her, grabbed my 2 bags, and I was in a hurry. Grabbed my 2 bags, didn't talk to her, didn't push her, didn't touch her. Just
Yeah.
turned around, grabbed it, and talking to her daughter, but really talking to me, calling her whatever. Maybe her name is Ella. Ella, it's okay. Go this way. We are all gonna be able to get what we need. We are all gonna be able to get what you need. I turn around, look at her, and did. I don't know if she knows this. She probably doesn't know this, but if she does, and then I looked her in the eyes, and she's trying to avoid, and I'm like, in my head, if you're gonna do this, you really have to stand on business and look at me in my eyes. I didn't talk to her, but I looked her in the eyes, and then I went and got something else and came back and tried to catch her eye contact again, but she was scared. She wasn't about it because I'm
That
like, what are
was
you trying to do? And what are you trying to say? I know you're not talking to this girl. You're talking to me.
yeah,
But that's not a good example.
that was a
Let
very
me have
funny.
another. So annoying.
Oh my gosh. All right. Woo, we catch ourselves. All right. So the next question is, what lesson has your biggest mistake taught you?
Woo, I could. Okay, I'm not gonna give that example. It's too personal, but that would have been a good lesson.
Anything you want,
So,
whatever you want to share.
um, I feel like one of my biggest mistakes was for me to think like you just have to for me to not consider like other career avenues. Like, I wish I was more of an entrepreneur. I had more of an entrepreneur mindset earlier in life.
Oh.
um and I think that's something the US did for me, being
Mm,
more confident.
mm,
Listen, I always doubted myself up until like I moved to this country. I
mm,
always doubted myself, my looks, like, the way I looked. And like
mm.
I just always I never had a lot of confidence, right? Well, I just
I find that hard
li-
to believe because you are beautiful.
oh, thank you. You're so kind. I never did though. I never did have confidence. And then when I moved to Texas, but to just talk about the confidence side and just not being very confident in my looks, um, I was just getting so many compliments. And French people, they are so stingy with compliments. Like I never, so for me, I was like, oh, in the someone say, "Oh my god, you look so good. You have such a beautiful skin." Da, da, da," just small things. And I don't know, these are strangers that mean nothing to me, but I somehow that did something for me, for my self-confidence. Um, but I'm just venturing out and doing things, thinking about like having projects that didn't have to do with like a 9 to 5 and being an entrepreneur and thinking big that way. You know how like in Africa or in Senegal, Niger, or other countries, they just think that there are these jobs that are just these noble jobs, right? You gotta
Mm,
be a doctor, you gotta be this, you have to have this like job. But like
mm.
they don't like you to venture into like, something that derails from that like regular path that people take.
Yeah.
So I think if I had to change something, I would say I would be like have more of an entrepreneur mindset earlier in life. And um like, for example, in France, after I graduated my master's, I had such a hard time finding a job. And that's very common in France when you're black or you're like a brown, like a Arab, like
Yeah.
Algeria, Morocco. Very hard. Like, yeah, if you're applying to clean up a whatever, but like certain jobs, they are not available to us. So I think if I had to do things again, I would just be like, forget your jobs, let me create my own thing earlier in life.
Yeah.
I have that mindset. That's what
Yeah.
comes to mind.
No, that was a really good example. Because I think oftentimes one thing that I always say to myself, I keep giving myself timelines of, you know what, I'll do this when I'm 30, I'll do this when I'm 35. And
Mhm.
like people in my life will always be like, well, why not now? So I think
Mhm.
that was really good of letting people know, like, some of the ideas that you have, or, maybe putting yourself around people who will help you with
Yeah.
those ideas earlier on are really good. I would say my biggest mistake is I always felt like people needed to know what I was thinking. Like every time, I would say,
Mm,
especially in conflict, every time I feel like it was you, like me. I gotta be real. I gotta, say whatever I'm.
mm,
And sometimes, what your definition of real is could be hurtful to others, but
mm,
also not everyone needs to know what you're thinking
mm.
at every step of your
Yeah,
life.
that's true.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So my biggest lesson that I got from it with like especially navigating predominantly white spaces as a woman of color is
mhm.
understanding how to say certain things, but also when to say it.
Meant to
That was
say it.
that was my biggest lesson earlier on in my career. So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
sure.
So I wanted to thank you for coming. I learned
Oh,
so much from you. I
thank
really.
you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I want to thank you for honestly just your vulnerability and talking us through your skincare journey and navigating motherhood. I think it opens up so many people's mindsets. And I definitely believe like you're educating across borders. We're able to have this conversation for the American society, for the Senegalese society, and it just speaks to your level of advocacy. So I definitely want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with the viewers and listeners. I hope you do definitely come back when there's like a group
I would
podcast.
love that. Thank you. It's my pleasure. It was such a nice conversation. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'll come back anytime to talk about other things. Hate on
Yeah.
Kanye West or whatever.
Yeah. Can you let the people know where they can find you and any upcoming projects
um
or adventures?
yeah. So, my main account, Codu's Way, where I create content, has been real quiet because Instagram, the app, just gets on my nerves. Um,
I do.
my so Codou's Way, Codou, and then so CODOUSWAY. That's my main account. But then I have my podcast. For our community, for women, Senegalese women, but we do have men that listen to the podcast as well, which is Jigenu Diaspora. Like, so Jigenu, which is Jigeenu diaspora, all in one word. Yeah, but the podcast is available on all platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all of them. I'm also on TikTok. But yeah, same names everywhere. Codus Way, Gienu Jaspora.
Perfect, perfect. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. And
Thank
we hope
you.
that for the guests, I hope that you really enjoyed this conversation. We want to know more about what were your biggest takeaways. So please leave it for us in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.